With the technology of e-bikes rapidly increasing every single year, it can become quite the minefield when choosing the right equipment. And if you're thinking about getting an electric bike, it's all about choices and having the correct information. There's so many subcategories, I couldn't even explain them in one video. Basically, there's two different types of electric mountain bikes, full power and half power. Electric mountain biking is not cheap, and buying the $10,000 bicycle is just the start of the expenses. But the first thing you need to know is you need a rated bike rack that can support the weight of your electric mountain bike. If you can't find the bike rack's specified maximum weight rating, absolutely don't buy it. I also would not buy a rack that doesn't say at least 60 pounds per tray. Now, lifting up a full power 60-pound bike onto your car may be a problem. I used to laugh at people with ramps, but you really never know what life's gonna throw at you, and we're all not getting younger here because we're not vampires. The half power bikes are substantially easier to pick up and put on your car. They're typically 10 to 20 pounds lighter than their full power cousin. And just like buying your super expensive e-bike, putting it on the car is only half the battle. Deadlifting 40 pounds off of your car can be challenging, so you may consider a half-weight bike for this single reason. While the technology of e-bikes is increasing, so is bike racks. You can get really nice ramps to load your heavy e-bike to take that lifting out of the equation. What kind of bike rack should I get? I don't know. It's another minefield. The ones that I recommend are the ones that have one tire holder on the front and a rear strap on the back. Basically, they're gonna look like this. So this style of bike rack with the center post coming up is the absolute safest because it grabs the bike in the middle where all the weight is. Now, the problem with these bike racks is they grab the frame and you just spent $10,000 on a mountain bike and you don't want to damage the frame. These are more for commuter bikes, but they are the safest. And my personal opinion, I would not recommend these for mountain bikes, only commuter bikes. The third style of bike rack is the type that just grabs the tires. Okay, these are the best because they grab the tires and you're gonna throw the tires away in 6 months because they're worn out because you're riding an e-bike. Problem with these racks, they're typically pretty expensive and they're not the most stable, and the levers can be pretty difficult to cinch down on the bike. If you're looking for the absolute best bang for your buck, it's the DK2 hitch-mounted rack on your screen. I linked it in the description. There's nothing fancy about it, but it is rated to 74 pounds for your e-bike. So this is my 75-year-old dad with bad knees and elbows. I had him lift both the half power bike and the full power bike off the car and ask him some questions. So the half power bike was totally in his range. I could tell he was really struggling with the full power bike because I didn't have a ramp for this one. He has a ton of pride, didn't want to admit it was too much.
Oh, the lightweight bike was like half the effort.
The next Ukrainian minefield we need to navigate is gear. Is this video sponsored? No. I use all POC gear. They make the most amazing gloves you've ever used. You can actually feel the handlebars and your brake levers. When it comes to the knee pads, they have these strapless knee pads called the Oseos that are absolutely amazing and offer a super high level of protection. Now, are you not an enduro shredder? No problem, because they make the most comfortable knee pads ever made right here. As the boat flows, once you buy one thing, you gotta buy the whole lineup. The Axion, I don't recommend you getting that helmet. It's kind of like their most basic helmet. The Tectil's super comfortable. And the most protection you can get out of a half-lid helmet that doesn't have cheek guards is the POC Cordal. I wear this thing every single day. It's e-bike rated, some special crash rating. You know, this is what POC does. They make safety equipment. Okay, let's try to choose half power or full power. So first of all, I'm 6'3" and 220 pounds, and this half power bike feels like a regular bike. It doesn't have the horsepower to really pull me up the hill because I'm not in really good shape. So if you're a big guy, I would steer clear from the half power bikes. Now, if you're a 130 pound chick like the one on screen, do you need a full power bike? No. When it comes to the full power bike, all that deadlifting 60 pounds off your car is gonna pay off. It's like breezing up the hill and you can basically choose your workout. Do you have some kids? Well, full power bikes, they'll easily tow a kid up a hill or your friend. Okay, let's talk about downhill performance on the half power bike. It is much more jittery through the braking bumps, but it is more flickable when you do jumps. And if you don't jump, it's still more maneuverable on the trail. Now, it depends on your personal preference here. I like the way the featherweight bike jumps because I can flick it around. When you turn back up to go uphill with the featherweight bike, you really have to earn those turns. Dropping in on the full power bike, much more connected to the ground through the braking bumps. And that extra weight is harder to flick around when you're jumping. But the extra weight does feel more predictable when you're jumping. It's all about personal preference here. So when I learned how to jump my mountain bike, I can tell you the full fat e-bike was the game changer for the simple reason I could pedal back up and hit the jump 800 different times. So I found a stranger who'd never rode an e-bike, and I was dragging 2 bikes around this bike park, so I was like, hey, you want to do a little experiment? I let him ride both bikes, the half power and the full power, and I asked him how it went. So what did you think about the full power Kenevo?
Incredible.
Incredible.
I've won over, man. I used to make fun of guys on e-bikes. Now I see what they're talking about.
My random stranger experiment interview did not go very well because it was crazy windy. He basically preferred the big bike because it's simply more powerful. Shortly hereafter, my random stranger experiment ended poorly. Basically, I told him about 800 times you need to spin a high cadence on the pedals. High cadence means you spin the pedals quickly when you're going uphill. If you don't do that, it basically breaks the motor. He locked my rear motor up, and that's a $1,200 fix. The next vital choice you need to make is wheel size. 27.5 and 29. 29 is larger, the 29 is on the bike, the 27 is resting. It doesn't look like much, but it's massively different. I also got buzzed by the Levo SL, which is kind of... Let me explain a tire buzz. So if you look at my butt and the rear tire, when those two make contact, we call that a buzz. The bike I'm riding is a size medium. You need to exercise extreme caution when getting size medium and small with full 29 wheels because these bikes tend to get buzzed more frequently than larger sizes. Now, this is my 5 foot tall ex-girlfriend and she's on a full 29. I want you to look at how close the tire is to her butt. In a seated riding position, she's in danger of getting buzzed. In her case, being 5 feet tall, 27.5 is the choice. If you're a beginner rider, it's also much safer. When it comes to the front wheel, it doesn't matter as much. Here's another choice in the minefield here, guys. Are we going mainstream bike or are we gonna go exotic? Fantic is an Italian e-bike company and Specialized is the most common e-bike you can get on the market. When you get a mainstream bike, it's going to be very bland, straight, made for many people out there. When you buy an exotic bike, you can get absolutely unique, special riding bikes, but there's one caveat to buying an exotic bike. So it comes down to servicing. The Fantic, simple little part like a derailleur hanger, it's coming either from China or Italy. And don't even get me started on the big parts because the only place on planet Earth you can get a battery for this bike is in northern Italy. Does this hold true for all exotic bikes? No, but it is a common theme. Think about an Italian car. Now we're going to continue on with exotic versus mainstream mountain bikes. What's the real difference? Okay, just to set the record straight, Italian manufacturing, there's nothing like it on Earth. The Fantic's carbon frame provides the rider no vibration through these heavy rock gardens. You can expect your Taiwanese Specialized aluminum frame to rattle like a skeleton in an old haunted house. Does the Italian e-bike have an amazing ride? Yes. Does it have an astronomical amount of problems? Yes. If bikes were cars, this would be a Maserati. And Specialized would be a Toyota. And I'll tell you, I drive a Toyota. Do you weigh 200 pounds? Pay attention closely. Regardless of your body weight, but more so if you're heavy. When you're on an electric bike, let me tell you, you are going to need some heavier duty components than you normally ride. We'll start with the tires. Okay, Maxxis is the most common mountain bike tire, and these are the strengths of the tire. We start with downhill, strongest. Double down, second strongest. Exo Plus, weak. Exo, weak. I use this Maxxis tire front and rear, either double down or downhill casing. Very simple. First upgrade you need to make to your electric mountain bike. If we use the YT Decoy as an example, this bike has all heavy duty components and nothing needs to be changed. And the price tag may reflect that, but you don't have to do any headaches modifying it to make it survive. The moral of this story is basically cheap can be expensive. As much as I love my Specialized Kenevo, I had to change literally every single part on it to make it equal to the YT decoy. So I saved the most important thing for last, long travel versus short, but it needed an entire video, so you have to click the thumbnail on the screen to watch that one.